Warning, this program is entirely fictional and made by a sole Canadian man. All characters and events in the show, including the host, even those that are based on real people, are entirely fictional. The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
America. The land of the free, home of the brave, and the stupid, and the criminally insane. The United States has seen its fair share of gangbangers, mobsters, and psychotics who've roamed our beloved streets, causing untold chaos, destruction, and corruption. Tonight, on the Season 3 premiere of Grand Theft Auto Biographies. Investment adventures, political aspirations, and cannibalism. Tonight, we will examine the life of a politician, a businessman, and a mass murderer who took America by storm in the late 90s and early 2000s. A savvy and yet incomprehensibly evil individual who left an impression on America's worst city like few others throughout its long and bloody history. We will see election tampering, failed assassinations, and multinational criminal conspiracies as we dig deep into the past of one of America's most iconic and psychotic entrepreneurs, Donald Love. This episode of Grand Theft Auto Biographies brought to you by my incredible supporters on Patreon. Sign up today for less than $2 American a month to get early access to all of my work, access to all the music from my shows and permission to reuse them in your own work, a download catalog of every video produced for the channel, access to the patron-only Discord server for weekly game/movie nights with me, and your name in the credits. Help me reach my goal for Season 3 to get this channel one step closer to being 100% fan-funded, so I can continue producing shows for you guys for a long time to come. That's patreon.com/Guinness Walker. Thank you for watching. Good evening, America, and welcome to Season 3 of GTA Biographies. Tonight's subject is a man many of you may already be familiar with, thanks to his impact on the media landscape of this nation. A man who some 20-odd years ago vanished into a puff of corporate smoke, never to be heard from again. Mystery, a key theme that surrounded Mr. Love throughout most of his public career. That mystery extended to his origins as well, since, like many of the subjects we cover on this program, very little is known about the early life and times of the infamous media mogul. It is possible to speculate on how Love wound up where he did, but knowing the truth when dealing with a man plagued by rumors of cannibalism and mass murder is not always as easy as one might hope. We were able to confirm some facts regarding Donald's early life, the first being that he was once the business protege of Florida's own corrupt real estate magnate, Avery Carrington. In the late 1980s, Donald would frequently follow Carrington around as he performed business deals and pushed his rivals into bankruptcy, observing with great precision the methods of a ruthless American capitalist. At one point, Donald even sat in on one of Carrington's meetings with the infamous Florida kingpin, Tommy Vercetti, before the Harwood Butcher became the most powerful man in the state.
Tommy, this is Donald Love. Donald, this here is Tommy Vercetti, the latest gunslinger to come to these parts. Now, Donald, you just shut up and listen, and you might learn something. Now, nothing brings down real estate prices quicker than a good old-fashioned gang war. Except maybe a disaster like a biblical plague or something, but that may be going too far in this case. You getting this down, you four-eyed prick?
While we couldn't confirm for certain, we believe Donald was in his early to mid-20s by his 1986 meeting with Vercetti, which would place his birth year in the early to mid-1960s. Many believe that Love was born in the worst place in America, Liberty City, though we could not obtain records from any of the city's hospitals for confirmation. Whatever the case, he would arrive on the East Coast in the 1990s to begin building his corporate empire. Liberty City in the late 90s. A city plagued by mob violence, political corruption, and hollow consumerism. A perfect place for the aspiring businessman to wreak havoc on the American electorate by sucking them dry of every penny they managed to scrape together. It was here that Donald Love made his name, in the city that had become famous for the worst reasons imaginable, a trend Mr. Love would only continue. By 1998, Donald would arrive in Liberty to begin establishing himself as a political player, an economic force to be reckoned with. It isn't clear where Donald's initial investments had been, but wherever they were, they'd allowed him to become a very wealthy man by the time he arrived in the city that he'd hoped to conquer. Donald had wealth, but what he really wanted was influence, and more importantly, power. He would establish his own media company in the city, Love Media, and slowly begin buying up assets, including radio stations and newspapers, to build up his portfolio and his reputation among Liberty's elite. Using his connections and his money, Donald would at some point make himself an ally of the Portland-based Leone crime family, under Don Salvatore Leone. Given Mr. Leone's own immense wealth and public cover as a mere businessman, it seems likely, and it is our speculation, that the two met through mutual high-income contacts, and found that their goals aligned quite neatly. When exactly this meeting took place is anyone's guess, but we believe it was sometime in 1998 following Mr. Leone's public spat with Mayor Roger C. Hull, which resulted in the mob boss fleeing his home in Portland to hide among the upper crust of Staunton Island. Salvatore would assign his up-and-coming soldier, Tony Cipriani, to first assassinate Roger Hull, before working personally with Donald to ensure his victory in the subsequent mayoral election.
Antonio, how wonderful to see you!
What's going on?
We're having a party, dear boy, a party. Yes, a morgue party. The first of the season!
Whoa, what the fuck you talking about? A morgue party?
We're gonna have quite a night tonight. But first, we need to go and pick up the guests. Come, before our guests get bored to death. No pun intended. 'Cause they're dead, you know. Our guest of honor is taking a little trip to the pathology labs. Let's not keep him waiting.
Donald would begin campaigning aggressively across the city, using his already vast reach in the media to shout his name from the rooftops, ensuring everyone knew who would be the next mayor of Liberty City. He would even personally hire Tony Cipriani to drive campaign vans around the streets of Staunton Island, shouting obscenities about his rival candidate Miles O'Donovan and harassing O'Donovan campaigners.
DL?
Tony,
How's the campaign?
it's down to the wire and every last vote's gonna count. O'Donovan's campaigners are working those marginal seats hard. Well, we've got our own bandwagon, so get out there and spread the word!
With his nearly overt ties to the Mafia, many alleged that Donald even had Tony kill campaigners on more than one occasion, and according to Love's most ardent detractors, these were the least of his crimes. There are some who contend that Donald Love was in fact a cannibal, and we here at Weasel tend to agree, seeing no shortage of crossover on the Venn diagram of cannibals and politicians. Whether or not he truly did dig on man-meat remains unknown, but we are proud to say that we have no problem making baseless accusations that make our narrative more engaging.
Antonio, que pasa, amigo?
You do know I'm Italian, don't you, Don? Not, Spanish?
Of course. How silly of me. I just love all the Romance languages. My God, this is good. It tastes just like chicken, but somehow more, sentient. You want some?
I already ate, thanks.
Ugh, too bad. It's fantastic. I have some more delicacies about to be served. The liberals would have a field day, of course, but how little they know of life's real pleasures. Sophistication and democracy have always been such uneasy bedfellows.
Listen, Don, we need to win this election, okay? We need to make sure that there's, no skeletons in the closet, if, you know what I mean?
Right.
What I mean is, how do we take care of this O'Donovan guy who is covering for, standing in for the Forellis?
The guy has a lot of people canvassing for him. All kinds of deluded people, if you know what I mean. I think we need to have their faith in democracy shaken, if you understand me.
What you mean is that I gotta go beat the crap out of them.
Oh, your passion, Antonio, it's magnificent. It's so, Wagnerian, you know? Arrivederci, amigo. Humphreys, bring out the apple.
The campaign would heat up to such an intensity, pun intended, that eventually Donald would hire Tony to burn down a warehouse containing voting machines controlled by the O'Donovan campaign.
Antonio, good to see you. Now, I'm no Democrat, but even I draw the line at vote rigging. Did you know the Forellis own a silent share of a company making the new voting machines?
That's bad, right?
Well, we certainly can't trust them. No, it's best if they all have a major malfunction, if you catch my drift.
Unfortunately for Love, though he'd been guaranteed the protection and cooperation of the Leone family, the same courtesy had been extended to his rival by the Forelli crime family out of Fort Staunton, and when Tony's efforts began to seriously encroach on a Forelli victory, Don Franco Forelli would personally make an attempt on the Don himself.
How I hate publicity! But it's all part of the game, right?
Right, so.
The Forellis are gonna try and take me out, aren't they?
Don't worry, I'm gonna be riding shotgun.
Oh well, here goes everything.
Hey, Mama says I got an edifice.
Let's see what you got, though, guy.
Having survived Franco's assassination attempt thanks to Tony, Donald would nonetheless remain paranoid and worried as Election Day got closer and closer. Despite earlier moral boundaries he claimed to be respecting, Don would even attempt outright election fraud by hiring Tony to steal uncounted ballots in a last-ditch, desperate effort to swing the election back in his favor.
Bad news, Tony!
What?
The exit polls are neck and neck. Time for Plan B. We steal some of the uncounted votes and we replace them with some of our own.
What was that you said about vote rigging?
Oh, shut up.
Just days before the election, Don would learn of evidence, supposedly linking him to the Leones, that was on the verge of being leaked, and unsurprisingly hired Tony Cipriani to dispose of whatever or whoever was threatening his victory.
Tony, you've got to help me. O'Donovan's got evidence linking me to Salvatore. We're sunk.
Calm down. Evidence goes missing every day. Not to mention judges, witnesses, jurors.
I hoped you'd see it that way. One of my men has been following the guy with the evidence. He'll meet you under the overpass in Newport.
Despite Tony's efforts, the connections between Donald and the Leones would be too obvious to be ignored by the press, and any hope of victory would be completely lost when news media began reporting directly on the link between Tony Cipriani's actions and the aspiring mayor.
Hey, Don. Took care of that mess for you. Everything should be cool now.
Really?
You got no more links to organized crime. You're whiter than white. You could be the Pope.
The Pope. Watch this.
Although no links can be proved between Donald Love and Liberty City's organized crime, it seems his friendship with mobsters, including Tony Cipriani, have counted heavily against him in voters' eyes. The past few hours have seen his popularity plummet. He is deemed, it seems, unfit for office.
Unfit? Because of you. Yeah, and it's all your fault.
My fault?
Oh, yeah.
My fault.
I can't believe the sacrifices I've made for this town. And do you know what my weakness has been the entire time? Humility. And now I'm ruined, bankrupt. $20 million in the hole. Gone. Bankrupt. Done. Arrivederci. Bankrupt!
Having plunged his entire $20 million fortune into advertising and otherwise funding his election campaign, Donald would find himself at rock bottom following his failed bid at becoming mayor. Now in the poorhouse, literally, Don would take up residence in Shoreside Vale at the Holy Reverend Joe's Flophouse in Pike Creek, living amongst the filth and cockroaches, but never giving up entirely, as he planned his Machiavellian return to power. Don would learn of his old business mentor, Avery Carrington, who was coming to Liberty City in order to begin redeveloping the Fort Staunton district with the Panatlantic Construction Company, which was in reality a front for the Colombian cartel. Don would plead with his old associate in Tony Cipriani to help him execute his master plan.
I know what you're thinking, Tony. How the mighty have fallen. But this is just a temporary blip, my man.
Okay.
Oh, don't be all touchy. I know I said some nasty things about this being your fault and all, but hubris is a nasty, nasty bedfellow. Almost as nasty as termites. And trust me, I've tried both recently. Wait. You and me are on our way back.
I never went away.
We're in this together, amigo.
No, we're not.
Please.
Please? Please? Forget about it, buddy. It's all your fault? Pathetic.
10%.
10% of what? This? Oh, you're too kind.
Not of this. Of something really big. Come. I'll tell you about it on the drive. I hope you have your car. Mine's in the, shop. Yeah.
Though it's unclear if Carrington had a deal with the Forelli family that would benefit the two mutually, Tony, and by extension the Leones, would realize the potential of stealing Carrington's deal with Panlantic, apparently indifferent to any threat from the cartel, who at the time held very little power in Liberty.
This is gonna make me a fortune. Yes, sir, a fortune.
Don and the Leones would then begin planning the most infamous terrorist attack in the history of Liberty City. Before executing the Fort Staunton massacre, Donald would also allegedly commit another horrifying act. A reporter, the very same reporter who had previously run afoul of Tony Cipriani, Ned Burner, had witnessed Tony's killing of Avery Carrington, and was threatening to reveal the information if he wasn't paid off.
Tony, at last! A reporter witnessed us killing Avery. He has photos. Oh God, I'm finished!
Calm down, will you? Where is this reporter?
Oh, Tony, you're wonderful. Apparently he's working on an undercover job at the church on Staunton Island. Get the photos and bury him!
Being a man to never pay a ransom, Donald would instead hire Tony to retrieve the compromising photos, which unsurprisingly also resulted in an early retirement for Mr. Burner.
You got some photos of me. Where are they?
I don't know what you're talking about!
After disposing of the meddlesome journalist, Tony would return to Donald at Francis International Airport, and according to our most gruesome reports, bring with him the corpses of both Ned Burner and Avery Carrington. The corpses were apparently loaded onto Donald's private plane, and exactly what became of them at that point is anyone's guess, but we think he ate them.
I'm back! Back from the dead, Tony, risen in you like a phoenix from the ashes. Like Lazarus. Yes, Lazarus, love! I'm gonna be rich again! Panlantic are gonna pay me a fortune to see the deal through. We did it, Tony!
Whatever.
It's time for a little soiree with a very exclusive guest list. Come on.
Not long after the disappearance of both Mr. Carrington and Mr. Burner, the Forelli-controlled district of Fort Staunton would be totally and completely obliterated by explosives planted in the city's subway system. In one horrifying act of violence, the Leone family would eliminate their biggest rivals, and Donald Love would receive a giant slice of land, newly primed for some major redevelopment.
Look, man, this truck is loaded. Know what I'm saying? Drive cool. Yeah. It's all good. Sure, I'll put him on.
Tony, we're one little job away from being fabulously rich. We've scoured plans of Fort Staunton. Its weakest points are along the old subway that runs underneath the area.
Great, Don. All I gotta do is dodge 100 wacko Italians.
Just head along the Porter Tunnel and you'll find your way in just fine.
Supposed to be a killer like it. I heard a marvelous piece on double.
With his Panlantic deal already underway, Donald would return to living his comfortable life of luxury, and even purchase a brand new mansion in Liberty's most exclusive neighborhood, Cedar Grove. Despite his overwhelming success at rising from the ashes, Love was not without his concerns, especially given his tendency to piss off his business partners due to his reluctance towards sharing profits. When the business end of the Colombian cartel came to collect on the lucrative deal Don had closed with their front company, Panlantic, Don would opt once again to hire the services of Tony Cipriani to help him fight and escape the cartel, rather than pay them a single cent.
No, that's no good. Damn it! It's just so... Oh, shit, if I just had something cold to cuddle up to, it'd be so easy.
What's going on, D?
Antonio! Oh, I'm just seeking spiritual enlightenment, if you must ask, but not today. Maybe tomorrow.
Your message seemed kind of anxious.
Anxious? I'm meditating. Anxious. Moi. I'm at one with the universe. That's just impossible. Oh, shit, that's right. There is a load of Colombians coming up here to potentially kill me if I don't keep my mouth shut and pay them all off.
Oh, I guess that would explain all the, Colombians hovering around outside.
Oh, shit. Please, Antonio, you have to get me out of here. I don't want to... Please, I don't want to die. I don't.
So much for, being at one with the universe, huh?
Oh, thank you, Tony. I'll make it worth your while. I promise.
With Tony's help, Donald would flee Liberty City for the next 3 years, but instead of slowing down, this move would only accelerate his true rise to power. What Don was up to exactly between 1998 and 2001 is the source of much speculation, and it is our belief that he continued to expand his empire far beyond the reach of Liberty City, as one thing we know for certain is, his wealth only continued to grow. At some point, Love would develop a rivalry with fellow businessman Barry Harcross, who had alleged ties of his own to the Colombian cartel, and it is perhaps this very connection which was the source of the rivalry to begin with. Whatever Love's reasons for hating Harcross, by March of 2001 he would return to the city that had made him famous at the same time as his rival, and begin buying up assets like a spank addict in the red light district. In what may be the single fastest and most impressive series of acquisitions in the history of America at that point, Donald's media conglomerate, Love Media, would grow to include 900 radio stations, 300 TV stations, 4 networks, and 3 satellites by the autumn of 2001. Love would even purchase at least 10 US senators to solidify his power and reach as all-encompassing.
You're listening to a Love Media station. Enjoy.
It's time for a public service announcement from Donald Love.
Hello, I'm Donald Love. Under my guidance, Love Media has emerged as the fastest-growing U.S.-run media conglomerate of the past 5 years. With newspapers, television, and radio stations across the U.S. and the free world, alongside a wide array of industrial and technology interests, we at Love Media ensure you get the truth behind the story every time. From films to dog food, from radio to pop music, you can be sure of independent, quality-led broadcasting every time you tune in. That's why we're the fastest-growing cable supplier and health insurance provider in the Northeast, and why our new satellite in China is something all Americans can be proud of. Here at Love Media, we are proud of what we have done to help America and to help hard-working Americans relax. For investment opportunities or information about our new interactive television service, please go to www.lovemedia.tv.
Just some of Love Media's properties by October of 2001 included Head Radio, Flashback FM, Double Clef FM, Chatterbox FM, the Liberty Tree newspaper, and even the Bitchin' Dog Food Company, among many, many others. Donald even sat down with Liberty Tree reporter William Matzik in September of 2001 to openly discuss his rapid return to the limelight. With the opening of his new website, a precursor to his entry into the world of internet television sometime in 2005, Donald Love took a few minutes from his busy schedule to talk to the Liberty Tree about what's in store for entertainment in Liberty City. Welcome to Liberty City. May I take this opportunity to tell you how pleased every citizen is to have you living in our city full-time? Thanks, and may I say thank you to Liberty City for making me feel so welcome. This is a great city, you know, which gets a lot of bad press. Not anymore. Well, of course not. I bought the press here, and that's what freedom is all about as a businessman. How are you finding life in Liberty City? Well, I hope it won't be overstating the case to say that I'm enjoying it quite a lot. It is my conjecture that Liberty City is not called Liberty City for nothing. Unlike other towns, a man can truly be free here, at least for a price. And freedom is an American principle I hold very dear. Now, History was never my strong suit, but it is my understanding that we defeated the Native Americans because they tried to tell us what to do. The same with the Nicaraguans. So I think all right-thinking Americans know why this is the land of the free, and especially that this is the case in Liberty City.
And what does freedom mean to Donald Love?
The same as to any man, to do what I want to do. You know, a progressive city authority and a wise and thoughtful private sector can work together to make a place great. I spoke at great length with several important government officials, including Mayor O'Donovan, aboard my private yacht in the Caribbean before I moved here, and I could see they were right-thinking gentlemen. Men who understood that you couldn't, as they say, make a pudding without adding some sugar. They appreciate the special needs and concerns of the multi-billionaire investor, and promised me the economic climate in this town would be to my liking. At the same time, to me, Donald Love, the man, not Donald Love, the multi-billionaire who dragged himself up by his bootstraps, freedom means the ability to do what I want to do. And for you to do what you want to do, and not be told what is right or wrong by some interfering council or set of do-gooders.
Diversity has always been your watchword as a businessman. Now you seem to be focusing on the media and selling off your older assets, including several of your most famous investments. Why is that?
Yes, it certainly has. Diversity. And, I hope, ruthlessness. In the business environment, you must fight hard. Otherwise, you're not respecting your opponent, be he stockholder, lawyer, customer, or union man. I've considered it my duty to fight hard, not fair, and I think this is very important. But I also respect people, especially fellow billionaires, because I understand the sacrifices they made in a way you never could. But time and tide wait for no man, as they say, even someone of immense wealth and power. I tell you, I could buy you and 50 of you every hour for the rest of my life, but I could never buy one single hour of my life back, and sometimes it's time to change. So, I have refocused the core interests of Love Media and am now concerned primarily with the media and pet food industries. I believe they complement one another perfectly, although the wider Love Investment Group will retain some interest in plastic explosives and anti-personnel landmines, because it is my conjecture that they are important and very lucrative industries. I'm hoping to make a significant pet food acquisition in the coming months, in the Liberty City area, so you see, what is good for Liberty City is good for Donald Love and ipso facto vice versa.
And your new interactive TV service?
Will be a remarkable thing for all concerned. Entertainment will never have looked so good, I can tell you that. People will never want to go out again once they get into this stuff. Families will stay together. I honestly believe they will enjoy each other's company so much more with a LoveMedia.tv entertainment package.
It isn't the cheapest television service, though.
Excellence never is. Can you put a price on excellence? I could, but I'm afraid it would be far outside your reach.
And what plans for the future?
I have many interests, but I never plan. It's a waste of energy. Take what you're given, and if you don't like it, take someone else's too. This is the American way, not planning. We are, thankfully, socialists.
Donald Love, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, and I promise I will speak to your Pulitzer people on your behalf. You deserve it. Now living and operating out of the Love Media building in Staunton Island's Bedford Point district, Love would also develop a mysterious friendship with an old Oriental gentleman, whose identity and indeed significance remains entirely unknown. He would personally pay for the man to be flown to Liberty City by private jet to practice Tai Chi with him in his rooftop garden, but the mysterious foreigner would be arrested by the head of immigration at FIA, Ray Mathers, and held by the Liberty State authorities until they could transfer him to a prison upstate. In October of 2001, Donald would pay the cartel, now under new leadership, to break his friend out of prison during a routine transfer. While moving the Oriental gentleman along with the infamous terrorist 8-Ball and the recently jailed armed robber Claude, the prison convoy would be stopped on the Callahan Bridge by the Colombians, who were armed and very dangerous. Taking the Oriental gentleman and leaving the other two escaped convicts to their fates, the cartel would bomb the bridge to buy themselves time from the authorities and subsequently cut the island of Portland off from the rest of the city for weeks. Instead of returning the Oriental gentleman as promised, however, the cartel would instead take him to their compound in Espatria to ransom him for a larger payment from Donald, whom they knew was now a far richer man than he'd been just 3 years prior. To add insult to injury, Love's mansion in Cedar Grove would be seized by the cartel, but Donald would refuse to negotiate, and instead turn his attention to finding a lone wolf criminal he could trust to rescue his friend from the Colombians. While searching, Don would attend another of his infamous morgue parties and in the process be photographed by a journalist seeking to expose the mogul for his cannibalistic tendencies. Using his connections in the LSPD, Donald would hire corrupt detective Ray Machowski to find and destroy any evidence from his debaucherous private life.
who in turn hired a mysterious man named Claude, the very same man who'd been inadvertently freed when his friend was kidnapped.
I know a real important man in town, a soft touch with, shall we say, exotic tastes and the money to indulge them. He's involved in a legal matter, and the prosecution has some rather embarrassing photos of him at a morgue party or something. The evidence is being driven across town. You are going to have to ram that car and collect each little bit of evidence as it falls out. When you've got it all, leave it in the car and torch it. We're both going to do pretty well out of this, kid.
After destroying the evidence for Wachowski and by extension Love, Ray would put Claude directly in contact with Donald, who'd been looking for the services of a man just like him.
First of all, let me thank you for dealing with that personal matter. People will read something into anything these days. Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price, but groups of men get greedy. A valued resource, an old Oriental gentleman I know, has been kept hostage by some South Americans in Espatria. They're trying to extort additional funds from me, but I don't believe in renegotiation. A deal is a deal, so they'll not see a penny from me. Go and rescue my friend. Do whatever it takes.
Claude would go on to save the old Oriental gentleman from the Colombians and return him safely to the Love Media building, where he and Donald continued to practice Tai Chi together and presumably colluded on various mysterious dealings. Taking a page from his old mentor Avery Carrington and perhaps seeking to strike back at the Colombians while benefiting himself in the process, Love would next hire Claude to pose as a cartel member and assassinate the leader of the Staunton Island Yakuza, Wakagashira Kenji Kasen, with the goal of sparking a war between the two organizations and in the process buying up a ton of cheap land.
Nothing drives down real estate prices like a good old-fashioned gang war, apart from an outbreak of plague, but that might be going too far in this case. I've noticed the Yakuza and the Colombians are far from friends. Let's capitalize on this business opportunity. I want you to kill the Yakuza Wakagashira, Kenji Kasen. Kenji is attending a meeting at the top of the multi-story car park in Newport. Get a cartel gang car and eliminate him. The Yakuza must blame the cartel for this declaration of war.
Nearly satisfied that Claude could be trusted due to his individualistic streak, Don would next give Claude a final test to prove the Silent Reaper could be relied upon. He would send Claude on a wild goose chase to collect 6 mysterious packages being dropped from an airplane as it arrived at Francis International Airport.
In these days of moral hypocrisy, certain valuable commodities can be hard to import. On its approach to the airport tonight, a light aircraft will pass over the bay. It will drop several packages into the water. Make sure you pick them up before anyone else does.
When Claude loyally returns the packages as hoped to Donald, he would deem the Reaper Man trustworthy of retrieving the real package, which had been aboard the plane all along.
Thank you for retrieving those packages, but they were only a decoy. Sorry about that, but that's sometimes the way in business. My real objective was hidden on the plane all along. Unfortunately, the port authorities seized the plane and were stripping it down until I intervened at great personal expense. Cross the bridge to Shoreside Vale and go to Francis International Airport. I've paid off the officials. My property will be waiting for you at the customs hangar in the aircraft fuselage.
As instructed, Claude would travel to Francis International and attempt to collect the mysterious package, but instead be confronted with even more cartel members. Shooting his way through the Colombians, Claude would search the plane but find nothing, nearly giving up his search until locating a van left by the attackers with the branding Panlantic Construction Company. Putting 2 and 2 together, Claude would race to the Panlantic construction site at Fort Staunton just in time to find the cartel swarming the area, forcing him to once again shoot his way through all of the men to find his way to the service elevator. After killing all the cartel members on the ground, Claude would finally catch up to not just the thieves, but also his traitorous ex-girlfriend, Catalina.
Hey, let's get this out of here. God knows what it is, but he seems to want it badly enough, so it must be worth something.
Who the heck?
You!
Hey, take it easy, amigo. No es nada, no es nada.
I left you pouring our heart out into the gutter.
Hey, don't shoot, amigo. No problem. We all friends. Here,
Don't be such
take
a
this.
pussy!
Hey, we got no choice, baby. Yeah.
We always got a choice, you dumb bastard.
I'm sorry about the crazy bitch, man. They're all the same, please. Por favor.
So, the whore got away. But you've done me a favor. You're not the only one that has a score to settle with the cartel. This worm killed my brother.
I never killed no Yakuza!
Liar! We all saw the cartel assassin. We are going to hunt down and kill all you Colombian dogs. I'll be operating on our friend here to extract information and a little pleasure. You, drop by later. I'm sure I'll require your services.
Please, amigo! Don't leave me here with her, man. She's psycho, chico, man. Please, amigo! Hey, amigo! Amigo!
Though Catalina would escape, Claude would return the package to Donald at his Love Media headquarters building in Bedford Point, proving the loyalty that Love had seen in him for the right price. Donald's next, equally mysterious set of moves would be to move the package and his friend, the Oriental Gentleman, to a secure facility in Pike Creek to be authenticated, once again hiring Claude to ensure both arrived safely at their destination.
You are proving to be a safe investment, a rare thing in these days of falsehood. My Oriental friend will need an escort while he takes my latest acquisition to be authenticated. I want you to follow him and make sure both he and my package get to Pike Creek unharmed.
After escaping the wrath of dozens of attacking Colombians, the Oriental Gentleman along with the package would safely await their next move in Pike Creek, with Donald hiring Claude one final time to be certain that his plans weren't interrupted this late into the game. When SWAT teams and LCPD forces descend upon the Pike Creek facility, Donald would hire Claude to pose as a decoy, leaving the building in a secure car to lure the police away for the Oriental Gentleman's escape.
A lesson in business, my friend. If you have a unique commodity, the world and his wife will try to wrestle it from your grasp, even if they have little understanding as to its true value. SWAT teams have cordoned off the area around my associate in the package. Get over there, pick up the van, and act as a decoy. Keep them busy, and he should make good his escape.
And this, dear viewer, is where, strangely enough, our story ends. You see, to this day, nobody truly knows what exactly Donald Love was working on or just what this mysterious package was, or better yet, how this Oriental Gentleman played into the entire equation. After Claude lured the police away from the Pike Creek facility, the Oriental Gentleman, the package, and Donald Love himself all simply vanished from public life forever. This left the ownership of nearly an entire city in question, but given the circumstances, it seems highly likely that Donald Love is still out there to this day. Rumors and conspiracy have surrounded these mysterious events since the first day the media discovered Love's disappearance, but despite our and many other news organizations' best efforts, it seems unlikely that we or anybody else will ever know the truth. If one had to summarize the character of Donald Love into one word, that word would be hedonism. Above all things, Donald valued his own enjoyment, and seemed to take great joy in constantly accumulating power, money, and prestige, with absolutely zero remorse or regard for consequences. As alleged by many, including our own news team here at Weasel, Love was a cannibal, who frequently attended morbid morgue parties where he presumably consumed the raw flesh of the innocent and the poor for his own sadistic enjoyment. Conjecture. Due to his incredibly mysterious background, beyond his connection to Avery Carrington, it's hard to say where Donald's sociopathic obsession with wealth accumulation stemmed from, though given his attitude, it seems likely that it was created or at least emboldened by a luxurious childhood and access to immense wealth from a young age, though we must stress this is unconfirmed. Whatever the case, Don was obsessed with winning, at any and all cost, and seemed to have no desire to form meaningful connections with any other human beings, with one possible exception, instead focusing all of his time and energy into defeating his adversaries in the political and business realms. Being an intensely immoral man, Donald also had no issue working with criminals throughout his life, from the smallest 2-bit thugs to the biggest organized crime outfits in the state, but whoever he aligned himself with, he always believed in trusting as few people as possible, believing groups of men to always be dangerous. He was so indifferent to suffering and prepared to sacrifice others for his own gain that he planned and helped execute Liberty City's most infamous terrorist attack, the destruction of Fort Staunton, with zero hesitation or remorse. In fact, the idea is believed to have originated with him.
Tony, Donald here. If the Panatlantic deal is to come to fruition, we're going to need to, how can I put this delicately? Clear A small section of land in Fort Staunton.
Yeah, when you say we, you mean me, right?
Tony, you see right through me. Go and see 8-Ball. I'm sure he can provide us with the necessary hardware.
Other than the old Oriental gentleman whose true relationship with Donald is entirely unclear, Don did not seem to have any true friends or associates, seemingly by choice, opting to remain independent at all times, and only relying on the greed of others to get work done, never on actual trust. He was a cold, calculated, and brutal man, who schemed and conspired to get what he wanted, and he wound up one of the most powerful people in the country. He also seemed to enjoy himself every step of the way, taking an almost childlike pleasure at times when working against his many enemies towards his own inevitable victory. In the end, we must ask ourselves, America, does what Donald achieved say more about him or about us? You decide. Though Donald Love never was, and likely never will be, charged formally with any crimes, it is our goal here at Weasel to always find the truth, even when obscured by so many layers of bureaucratic tape and obfuscation. Given his involvement with men like Tony Cipriani, Avery Carrington, Claude, and even the Colombian cartel, we believe there are no shortage of crimes that can be comfortably laid at the feet of Mr. Love, even if one ignores everything beyond his involvement in the Fort Staunton massacre. Some of his alleged crimes, as far as we are concerned, are accessory to sabotage and murder when sitting in on Avery Carrington's deals with Tommy Vercetti. Accessory conspiracy theft of a corpse, grave robbing, desecration, and murder when hiring Tony Cipriani to retrieve a corpse for his morgue party. Cannibalism when eating the corpse retrieved by Tony. Election tampering numerous times during the mayoral race of 1998. Accessory slander when campaigning against Miles O'Donovan. Accessory conspiracy murder when hiring Tony to kill O'Donovan campaigners. Accessory conspiracy murder and arson when hiring Tony to burn down a Ferrelli factory containing voting machines. Election tampering and accessory conspiracy murder when ordering Tony to steal uncounted ballots. Election tampering and accessory conspiracy murder when ordering Tony to retrieve evidence linking him to the Leone family. Illegal hostile takeover and accessory conspiracy murder when hiring Tony to assassinate Avery Carrington and taking his place in the redevelopment of Fort Staunton. Destroying evidence and accessory conspiracy murder when hiring Tony to kill Ned Burner. Cannibalism and desecration when ordering Tony to retrieve the bodies of Ned and Avery for his consumption. Accessory conspiracy murder and terrorism for planning and helping execute the destruction of Fort Staunton, resulting in the deaths of thousands. Accessory conspiracy murder when hiring Tony to help him escape a group of attacking Colombians and fleeing the city. Accessory conspiracy prison break and terrorism when hiring the cartel to break the old Oriental gentleman out of police custody during transfer. Accessory conspiracy destruction of evidence when hiring Ray Machowski to deal with photos of him at a morgue party. Accessory conspiracy murder and harboring a fugitive when hiring Claude to rescue the old Oriental gentleman from the cartel's compound in Espatria. Accessory conspiracy murder when hiring Claude to kill Kenji Kasen and start a gang war between the cartel and the Yakuza. Accessory conspiracy attempted theft of police property when hiring Claude to retrieve a mysterious impounded package, and accessory murder when Claude kills dozens of Colombians in order to collect it. Accessory conspiracy murder when hiring Claude to protect the Oriental gentleman's convoy from an attack en route to Pike Creek. Interfering with police investigations and continuing to harbor a fugitive when hiring Claude to act as a decoy so that the Oriental gentleman could escape. Fleeing authorities when vanishing completely from Liberty City along with his friend and the package. We will likely never know what truly happened to the mysterious Oriental gentleman, the package that Donald wanted so desperately, or the man himself. To this day, new conspiracy theories are always being made surrounding Donald's whereabouts and intentions, as well as the contents of the package itself. We leave the question in your hands, America. Let us know down below where you think Donald Love wound up, what became of his friend or associate, and what was his importance, and most mysteriously of all, just what was in that damn briefcase. What makes a man sell his soul, America? And what if that man never had a soul to begin with? Tonight we were given a rare glimpse into the mind of America's elite, and saw the awful reflection awaiting us in that blackest of mirrors. Stay awake and stay vigilant, people. Danger lurks around every corner in this great nation, and you never know where it will strike next. America is a dangerous place, folks. You can never be certain if your boss truly intends to honor that deal he made for your vacation hours, or if he actually intends to have you transferred to a sweatshop in Cambodia at his nearest convenience. Stay indoors, people. I'll see you next time on another exciting edition of America's favorite criminal expose, Grand Theft Auto Biographies, with me, your host, Guinness Walker. Thank you for watching.